All right, we should be live right now. Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's good to be back another week on here live. This is Quay Parker, Concept of Cashflow. Glad to be back on. Last week was our week off. We're in the middle of our series. We said we're going to do 8 weeks. We're knocking down week 5. I think this is week 5. Yeah, week 5. Had amazing 4 weeks prior. We have a guest coming on tonight. That's really someone I'm excited about. We wanted to get started on time. I'm waiting on him to arrive. We had an emergency with one of our guests, and this gentleman was scheduled to be later in the week, but he's coming on a couple weeks earlier. Not later in the week, but a couple weeks from now. But he's coming on a couple weeks early. And I just want to kind of repeat a few things. Last week we covered a whole lot. We covered the whole legal side of things, or one aspect of the legal side of things, with Paulette Lundy. Amazing show. A lot of good feedback we got from it. A lot of good views across all platforms. I'm really happy to see that we're getting so much support. No, we don't have anything structured. We don't have sponsorships or anything like that at this point. It's not designed for that. It's just designed to help people out. I said at the beginning of the year I wanted to do a few projects of helping people who were trying to get started, whether you have visions, whether you have ideas, you're trying to get off the ground, just knowing where to start. And you don't have to be a mogul or mega successful or next Elon Musk in order to help people. Sometimes you just need people that are just a little further ahead or just gone down the roads before. So that's what we're doing. We're giving information. At the end of the session, we give you an opportunity to actually ask questions. So we're waiting for him to join. I just want any feedback. We're giving people a few minutes. I've learned that even when it goes live, we need to give like 5 minutes for people to kind of share the links and see the links. There's a slight delay. 1 second. Okay, people are tuning in. Hello, please. Amanda Kidd. Hey, thank you, Amanda. All feedback, I welcome it. Thank you so much. This week is going to be good. If you're a house flipper, if you know somebody who's a house flipper in real estate, they need to be on this one. I am in the mortgage business, but I don't talk about my business or anything. I don't promote on here. But I know there are a lot of people who are interested in real estate related topics. Real estate is where a lot of wealth is established. So if you know people who are into buying homes, trying to get tiny homes started, construction projects, etc., I'm letting it out. We have the guest for you. 1 second. Please, if you can log in, I get a lot of text messages, and we're across YouTube as well. Any comments, please, I'd like to put them in the thread on Facebook. If you could, please put them in the Facebook thread right now. All right, 3 people on. Good. Oh, more people joining. Oh, I forgot our YouTube people. Hello out there. Douglas, good seeing you, man. Thank you. Join us on Facebook. I can't monitor both platforms. All right, so I usually have a black designer. No one sent me anything this week. Black designers, t-shirts, sweatshirts. Send me your links. Love to support you. Buy your stuff so that you can wear it on here. I'm not asking for free gear. I will support. Send me your stuff. Love to see it. Send me something. I can pick something to wear each week. So we get started in another minute or so. Put you on hold 1 second. Check it. 1 second. We're helping the guest on so that he can get online. Can you all hear me? Want to make sure. Wait a minute. Sounds there? Good. We're helping our guest online now, making sure he's able to get online. Technical difficulties, but I'm going to keep going. All right. So if you have any questions for today or from last week, please post it in the thread. I can address one right now that we're receiving. Property taxes. And I can put this in the thread myself. I'll ask while early joining. Property taxes in the state of Maryland. All right. Post this here and then I can bring it up. All right, so someone asked property taxes in the state of Maryland for businesses. What are they? If you received recently a form in the mail related to property taxes, wait a minute, someone said my sound is down. If you're listening, can you hear me? If you put in the Facebook thread, someone said we're having sound difficulty. All right, property taxes in the state of Maryland are separate from real estate property taxes. What you're required to file if you have an LLC or an S Corp, you're required, thanks Amanda, you're required to file a form that states how much property you owned at the end of the year. This is not your property tax. This is a standard tax as far as your real estate tax. There's a standard tax you're paying on all goods that you own, inventory that you own at the end of the year. So yes, there's a lot of people telling you to put things in your name and put things in your business name, but just be aware that these things have to be reported at the end of the year. You can lose your corporate standing, your LLC standing, and other things by not filing your property tax report. It is very important to file that. Man, that's a good question. I wish we could have had that last week, or actually, we'll bring this up next week and go into more detail with it. Are you online? I guess. Are you having difficulty still? Yes. Is 1 second. I'm gonna log off just so we can get this straight, so we can bring him in. We're gonna jump right in. We're gonna make this time up. Hold on 1 second, folks, and put you on hold. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that technical difficulties. Had to help our guest, and I'm not going to prolong things any further. For those of you who are in construction, especially in the Maryland area, Baltimore area, if you're into either renovating homes, real estate, this is one you definitely want to check out. Thanks for being patient. We try to start on time. We just had a technical difficulty. But this week I have none other than Mr. Fix-It, the home renovation guru himself, Earl Harris. If you are in renovation, if you are in this field, you definitely probably have know this guy, or he's the guy to know. Earl, you muted?
Not anymore.
How's it going?
It's going all right.
So Earl is actually the other half of CDC Construction, which specializes in renovating properties. They do a lot of the inner city, county flips, overall renovations. This gentleman is the one that I would say is the guru. He's the one that the banks don't check. He's the person that your contractor calls to figure out how to get things done. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing all right.
You're doing good. All right. So yeah. I brought you on here. Obviously, a friend of mine, long term. This is like one of my close friends. But he talk about circles in business and iron sharpening iron. There's a classic example of it. I want you to tell us a little bit. How did you get into construction? How did you get into renovations?
I started early. I started, good with my hands in middle school, and then I went to Mervo, and the rest was just one thing led to another.
Okay. And tell me how that started. So you just didn't start off in construction. Where did you start off in doing it?
I started off making go-karts. Taking big wheels apart and making a go-kart to ride down Ravenwood in the 4x4.
Now, how did you transition into the business side? What was like your first construction job, so forth?
It was a kitchen job. Actually, I was in college. I got a kitchen job, and it paid a lot of money. And I decided, I could make more money doing construction than I can getting a degree. So I stopped, and I just got job after job from that kitchen job, and it went from there. But I've worked in a lot of different companies that, taught me a lot. I worked in a window and door company. I worked in a cabinet making company, making Chanel and Clinique cabinets for Macy's and different places. And all of those skills, help you along.
So basically you took a job, you leveraged what you learned in a job, and then you learned to use that to benefit yourself in your own operation.
Yeah. I was hungry. I was hungry for the knowledge. And a lot of people don't like being watched when they work.
Mm-hmm.
But I was a threat. When I watched you work, I was soaking up everything you was doing. I was learning.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps you with being familiar with all the trades when you're running a big project. You know a little bit about everything, or a lot about a lot of them, and you can really foresee problems, work out anything that's going to be a problem because you know how each trade works.
Mm-hmm. See, this audience are people who are not always in business. There are a lot of people who have dreams, they're aspiring, sit on the sideline looking and saying, I want to do something different. I have dreams, I have goals. The 9 to 5 isn't 100% it. So sometimes they see entrepreneurs from a standpoint of where they are, but they don't always see the path that we went on to get to where we are now. So it's a lot different seeing a person's year 15 and year 20, comparing it to your month 2, and what that looks like. So we want to kind of paint the picture. You're a good person because you've seen it from A to Z.
But month 2 is what am I doing this for? It don't pay off until you feel like you are in You completely done with the 101. You're in the twos now.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get to the next step, you feel confident about not making those same mistakes again. If you don't make mistakes, you're not learning anything.
Have you made mistakes along the way?
Oh man, my mistakes felt like a butt whipping from mom. Never do it again.
You know what? I said that, but I've gone back and done the same things again, just because over time, certain things are just habit. I found a lot of people go into business because they don't like instruction. They don't like being told what to do. And what I'm noticing is a common thread is all the people that I see who have businesses that are really thriving and have reached a certain level, they started off by learning what to do. It's like you have to be a student before you can be the master or the teacher. Um, how long did you work on your craft before you said you were at a point where you could sell it in the marketplace?
I actually was afraid.
Hmm.
I was afraid to get in, even though I had the skill, but I lacked the confidence. I had all the skill.
Mm-hmm.
I made other people money. I figured out problems for people. I was successful in handling other people's projects, but I was afraid to do my own.
Hmm.
And I think I think anybody getting into anything, if you go into it fearless, you will fail
Sure.
because you're not going to be cautious. You will make a horrendous mistake if you run in a fire and not prepared.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not gonna get too personal. I'm not gonna ask you questions like CDC. On average, you're keeping jobs going constantly, multiple jobs, right? At
Right.
a time. So you're not a person who's just swinging a hammer. You have a company that's actually out there and putting in the energy and putting in the time, running multiple jobs at a time, doing multiple projects. So I try to bring people again that are a couple steps ahead of the audience. When you got started, what were three things, if I were to ask you three lessons that you would tell yourself 10 years ago, what would they be?
You can't do everything yourself.
Whew.
You cannot. Even if you can, you can't because you can't be everywhere at once. And if someone goes into these projects, like let's say this electrician friend of ours wants to flip houses or he wants to get into the business and he runs into this and his strong suit is electric. That don't mean that he can do the plumbing. That don't mean he can do all the different trades.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, he's neglecting his own business,
Mhm.
the business that got him to the point where he was able to be financially ready to invest. So
Yeah,
you have to have all of that planned out.
indeed. What will be the second thing? Can't do all yourself. Don't try to. Second thing.
Choose the right contractor.
Well, not even just in construction, just in business in general.
Well, choose the right people. Experience over loyalty, experience over um, someone that sounds good. If you pick experience, like even if it's something as simple as title work, I wouldn't want to do my title work to close on a house with a title company that's been open for a year because they could miss something. They could come back and get you. What's going on right now is a lot of people are getting hurt with buying houses that don't have the UNOs, and it's coming back to get people, from 2018 or 19, and that's on the title company.
UNO, by the way, is use and occupancy. So just because a home is for sale, it doesn't mean it's legally fit to be occupied. Correct?
Correct.
So people who buy homes that were flipped, it doesn't mean that the seller pulled permits, and it doesn't mean that they actually got a use and occupancy permit to go along with it. It could just be you bought some that someone put some nails up in drywall and resold it. This is part of the buyer's due diligence. That's good. That's good. So the first one, you can't do it all yourself. The second one is you got to have the right team in place. The third one is what?
I think the third one would be to surround yourself by people that you want to be like, because you may be able to get what you need from those conversations and those lessons to skip some of the pain I went through.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had a lot of conversations over the years related to business. Tell people how we met. When I met you, you were doing a project, this $1 million house, you were doing a construction project. Can you tell that story? I love it. This is very germane to what we're talking about. Please.
I'm working on this project. I'm being forced into every trade of this $2 million house. The owner is pretty much firing everybody because he has this young kid that can pretty much finish out the trades, which means he really didn't have to put up with people not showing up or their price, because he could just get me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So in comes Quay with the owner of the house, and he sees me working. I'm on the floor or something. I believe I was doing some marble. And another day you saw me working on some plumbing. I think I was doing the gas pipe to the fireplace another day. And you said, "Oh, so you can do all the trades." And I said, "Yeah." "And you run all of these people here?" And I said, "Yeah, they all work for me." And you said, "Oh, so you're the boss working with the people?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, you're not going to make any money till you get off your knees. You need to be a boss. Being a boss, you can't be down working with them because you're not supervising.
Put down the tools.
Put down the tools." Took me a while to buy into what you said, but you were 200% right. When I officially put the tools down, my life changed. Everything changed. It was kind of like I had a bird's eye God view down onto everything I was working on. There was clarity. There was great supervision. There was planning, foresight, you name it. With me taken out of the daily routine of what I was physically going to be doing and inserting planning, execution, uh, problem solving, doing that made everything work.
Mm-hmm.
It made going from one project to the next flawless.
Yeah. And you probably do double the load of most contractors, if not triple. And your quality of work is superior to what most that I've seen. I'm not saying it just because you're a friend of mine. I'm saying it because I can respect the craft, and I've seen the growth over the years. So what I'm noticing here is that you keep focusing on it, and you downplay your business acumen, but you're one of the people I call for advice. And you break it down. So don't get all shy now on camera. This guy has a wealth of.
I'm not shy at all.
You told me several times, you need to move this. I think that's a hard thing for people to do, is realize that the skills that get us to the point of having the operation are not going to be the skills that take the operation to where we want it to go. Because doing the work is what got us in business, but letting go of doing the work is what keeps you in business.
But it still all goes back to a team.
Absolutely.
5 men on a basketball team, and everybody plays a position. And even if someone's hurt, someone's out, if that team is structured right, then you can still win.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody can fill in or cover for a spot, but that team, that starting five, gotta be right.
Yeah. So on your team, you rely a lot on your team.
Yeah, rely on a plumber, electrician. Um, when you're trying to find a deal, you may rely on a realtor to help you find deals. You rely on the title company to make sure that when you get to the table, there's not some $19,000 lien.
Mm-hmm.
You rely on the realtor again when you sell a property so that you get the right number and people don't try to reduce the price by finding 50 things wrong with the project.
Mm-hmm.
Um, your financing, all of that is part of making the whole thing work, making it worth doing. I mean, if you're not making money, why do it?
I want to speak to something that I think made a heck of a difference in your business, which a lot of people sleep on, is having a dedicated person who focuses on the business while you focus on the day to day. How much has that helped?
When you say dedicated person, you're still referring to choosing the right help.
Absolutely. But being able to put them in the right place. Because I think frequently what I hear is people focus on the craft. Like in my business, the mortgage business is more than just doing the loans. It's the back end aspects that allow me to focus on the loans that keep it going. In your case, it's the back end support that makes sure your contracts are right, that makes sure the work is flowing in. All that stuff helps. The having not having to worry about and look at all aspects. You've mastered, from what I see, putting things in competent hands and letting people handle it.
Well, if you're investing, you can't make it complicated. If you have a crew of people or you have a team of people, they play, they run a set of plays. If you change up that set of plays because you're going into a game the next day and they are not familiar, you can't expect them to execute that play.
True.
But if it's consistent, really consistent, I could disappear for 2 weeks and they know the plays.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better. And people say, it's cookie cutter, but then you get personal if you're taking a project and you are trying to do too much. But cookie cutter or keeping things consistently the same is easy for the people that work for you because then they can actually make executive decisions based on how things are usually done.
Mm-hmm. I got a question in the text, and they're asking, "How do you keep crews in this economy?" Woo, that's a good one.
Well, me personally, make sure that his work lined up. Because if you were to lose a good guy because you have a 2, 3 week downtime, that there's nothing for those two really good guys or that really good crew to do, you're not going to get them back. You got you got to keep you got to keep them in the backyard. You got to make sure that that's your squad, that's your team. Once they walk away from you and they're working for somebody else, it's no longer your team. There's
Mm-hmm.
no your crew.
Yeah, I find that most challenges come in to answer that question too from a lack of business. Just marketing, sales, and just having enough people to service will get you through a lot of tough times, because I found that I've even done some deals and not made the margins I wanted to make just to keep my staff in place for when there's opportunities to really make money.
I do the same thing. I'll take a bathroom and kitchen job and roughly break even, if not sometimes taking a $500 loss or $1,000 loss. But I keep my 19 guys working.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you lose a crew, and now you could lose a client, or you could lose the ability to handle multiple projects because you now are missing a key piece to how you keep everything flowing.
Yeah. I think sometimes people underestimate the importance of our internal clients. I call that my team, because when you lead, really, you're a servant. Everybody else, you're responsible for making sure everyone else eats. Is that how you feel too? My job is to make sure everybody on my
Yeah.
team eats and eats well.
And you pay yourself last if you're running a business.
Yeah.
You pay yourself last. You make sure that they eat. But there's something really false with people that work and like like myself. And you say, "Well, I'm my own boss." I can say that I'm my own boss as much as I want. Stick my chest out, and you know, but I'm not my own boss. Everybody that writes me a check is my boss.
Yep.
It could be a $6,000 bathroom versus a $30,000 kitchen. They are two bosses of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working to get the checks so I can keep those guys, keep everything running.
Mm-hmm.
So people walk around and say I'm my own boss, I'm running my own. No, the customer is the boss.
Always. You
Yeah.
know what the golden rule is, right?
What's that?
He or she who has the gold makes the rules.
Well, that in my field that applies to everything until we talk about purpose. What city or what state you in? Because a customer could say, I don't want this or I don't want that, but the township's codes say yes you do, you're going to do it, or we're not giving you the permit.
Mm-hmm. I used to look for business to be complex, because in school and stuff they teach you all the theory and all the concept of business, but really, what I've always heard from you is, and I think this is what's been like a real winner. Earl downplays this. This brother's crushing it. He's one. I'm proud of this brother because he's doing his thing. But overall, it's like you focus on simplicity. How do I get things done in the simplest manner possible that's effective? How do I keep people going? You understand the people. How important is it to really get to know your people and investing in your people? Because to maintain a team like that in a competitive environment is more than just what you pay them. Or what is it that you put into your people?
I try and copy myself. If I see something in the leaders of each team that I don't like, I can't keep them around. Like, yeah, I have the same drive. And everybody has to have a conscience. You can teach people anything. You can teach someone how to paint. You can teach someone how to do mortgages, title work, but you can't teach people to care. You can't. If they care about what they're doing, growth is going to come. But if they don't care about anything, they just riding the clock, then their heart's not in it. There's not going to be any mental growth with that.
I'm putting that quote up here. You can teach skills, but you can't teach people to care. Good God Almighty.
Yeah.
That goes so far. That's the person that will walk over a piece of paper and won't pick it up because they don't care. They're not concerned. And you can't build your business around people who just want the money and don't care.
Let me tell you something. In this business, guys will do something wrong. Like, I'll buy a $200 interior door, and if they cut it wrong, too short, it's trash. Or if someone's painting, they could make a mistake that cost me money. If someone makes a mistake and I look at them and they have this I don't care attitude, I don't care how much skill they have. They got to go because they don't care about waste. They don't care about the time that they put into it. They don't care about the material loss. But if I look at that person and I see so much sadness, so much consciousness in it, like, I'm so sorry. I love that person. Even if the skill level is not there, I can work with that.
Me too. I'm seeing a new trend of people where I think making money is a bad reason to do anything, any occupation. I think you can make money. Not think. I mean, the guy who makes this canteen makes money. The people who make these Kleenex make money. But I very rarely see people become excellent at something they don't care about. But are you noticing there's a lot of, I am really disappointed by how many people that don't want to be good. When I started out, I wanted to be great. It wasn't the money that I was chasing after for the, and it's not about me, but was it in you? I've noticed that of everybody I brought on here so far, the one thing that I can see for certain is a large aspect of what they did because they loved it and they wanted to be great at it. And even if you gave them $10 million, I bet you if I gave you 500 million today, you couldn't go without picking up tools for another 2 years.
No.
Because you love it.
Yeah, I feel like, I have this thing, even when someone's working for me, that I can do it better. I have to mentally pull myself back. Because again, that first rule, you can't do everything yourself. Because if you let that I can do it better control you, you'll have a traffic jam of things you have to do because you can't get to everything.
I pray for people who have the passion to be better than me.
Well, this generation right here is different than we were. We were competitive to be the best at everything that we did. It was a competition. Everything, it was almost a fun competition.
It still is.
Yeah. But we in this generation now, and I'm watching it. I watch, my kids, other people's kids. It's an entitled generation, and they don't work hard at anything.
Man, I'm going to say this. Some of my millennials, they're impressive. They have grind. It looks different. Like I'm not going to I'm not going to pat my own kids on the back.
So are you saying to me that
I have some? A lot of these millennials have a lot of drive, man. They just don't have patience.
Listen, well, I don't know about you, but when I was younger and I worked at McDonald's, I was trying to get the golden spatula in the grill. These kids ain't trying to get the golden spatula. They just want their check every Friday.
They want the bag.
They want the bag. It's all about the bag and what they can buy with the bag. I wanted Ray. What's his name? Ray Kroc. I wanted Ray Kroc award.
That's because
it wasn't
excellent.
It wasn't because I cared about Ray Kroc. I just wanted to beat everybody else at the grill, the cash register, even the parking lot. When I went and cleaned the parking lot, I wanted to be the fastest and the best at it. I don't see that in this generation.
So again, to win, you gotta hate losing.
Yes.
I'm a horrible loser. I hate losing.
It's almost like when we were younger, we was allergic to losing.
Oh,
sore loser.
Because I don't think the idea of money gets you out of bed after a certain point. I had another friend of mine who I wish I could get on here, but he's so busy. He said, the things I like don't change with more commas in my bank account. I like the same burgers. I still like the same chicken. I can go wherever I want, but my preferences don't change. At a certain point, you don't really have a desire to buy. I can imagine everything isn't about just what you can get next. It's about what you personally achieve. So whether that number is a few 100,000 or a few million, I think everybody gets to that number when they're doing it. I don't think Jay-Z does things just for money at this point. I think he's doing it because he desires to be number one.
Yeah, everything's a competition.
He just wants to be great. To his own, at his own level. And obviously they're playing at a much higher level, than we are. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm around mentors and I'm like trying to level up right now, going into a field where I'm the little guy leaving something that I've done for a while. and it's humbling. What would you say right now to young people who are sitting around with the dream of what they want to do and they're undecided? What would you say to the 20 some to 30s? Let's say the 20 to 35s who are watching and saying, there's something in me. How do I get started?
I would say, what do you love?
Mm.
You love to cook. You love to bake. You love to braid hair. You're braiding hair, but you're working at the supermarket as a cashier. Well, if you love to braid hair and you love to be creative, if you can find a job or you can find a way of getting into that career and you do what you love, you're not working. I love taking old houses and or nothing and making it into something. And the finished product, I can sit back and say, yeah, I did that. That's
Mm.
not, and it's satisfying. So I kind of feel like I'm not working. I feel like I'm doing what I love to do. If you can get there and you can get paid to do what you love to do, you live in life.
Yeah. I had an old mentor of mine, Curtis Collins. He used to say that true warriors talk about the battle and not necessarily the victory and the spoils. I don't know about you, but I get excited still when there's a problem and I solve it. Like I got into mortgages thinking I love mortgages per se, but what I realized later as I matured that I just love helping people and I love solving problems.
Yeah.
And that was what really was fascinating. I love a problem that people are frustrated with and I'm faced with and I can solve it.
But that means you've gotten to the point where you're running on cruise control. So the glitch excites you because you're bored.
But that happened a
So,
long time ago because I started dealing with glitches as a business, it
so,
seemed
so
like. It wore me out.
let me look at the glitch real quick. Let me take the car off of cruise control, take a look at the glitch, tell you guys what to do with it. You know, and it's fun. You know what's real fun is, I mean, it's so great when it's really, really, really intelligent minds stuck on something, and I walk into the room and I solve the problem in 5 minutes. It makes my month, and it could be something as small as, you know, just rearranging what they have there to solve the problem, and that's because what we you if you get to that point where you run your business or you can do things easy, that problems excite you, then really you love the challenge. People that love the challenge are always going to be driven.
Mhm. I got a question. We should have been at Q&A. We started late, so we'll rock it a little longer. And this is a question I'm going to have to post it. Uh, I'm going to have to answer this as well, but I'm going to let you go first. When do you know it's time for your next? Woo!
My next, far as
When did you know it was time for your next? When did you know it was time to put the tools down and stop doing what fed your family the way you did it and you could do it better than everyone else? When did you know it was time for the next phase of that?
and that $2 million house, because that it wasn't in my schedule to complete all the trades in that house when the owner started falling out with all the contractors. But because he was a personal friend, I didn't want to walk away and leave his project up in the air. So I started taking on work and neglecting other things that I had going on. And when I actually listened to you and started backing away and delegating and giving other people jobs to do so that I could go around and keep a rotation of supervision amongst all the projects, I saw I saw the trees open up and I saw the sun shine through. It was a moment of clarity for me.
Mm-hmm.
And even, over the years, when someone would get stuck on something and I'd run over with my excitement to solve a problem and actually touch the tools that they had that were available, um, I still was able to problem solve. And, you know, I, but you know, but you also have to pull back because you can overdo it. You have to know the balance.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say it's next, but you really got to have it balanced before you say it's next.
Yeah.
You got to have it all figured out.
Do you ever have it all figured out though? Because I still,
No, you know,
you just have to have a plan. You gotta have a strategy.
there's always, you know, I was reading a contract when I had a house built, and being a contractor, it was something in the contract of that house being built that I couldn't put in my contract. The builder had that everything will not be perfect because it's being hand built, and the human hands are not perfect. I could not, for the life of me, put that in my contract, even though I knew it was the truth. I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be attached to that. The saying to my client, "Look, I'm doing your job, but it won't be perfect because it's done with human hands." You know, but it made sense. It's not a computer building the house. It's going to be as close to perfect as human hands can get it. Is basically the translation of this almost 2-page description of what acceptable was, but I could not touch that and put that and implement that in my contracts.
Because you still strive for perfection.
Right.
And you don't want anybody to tell you it's not possible.
But to put that, look, you're gonna get what you get because it's being hand built and the hand is not perfect. That's that just puts a lemon taste in your mouth. Like I can't get a little sugar with that when I
Can I give a shot at this one?
yeah.
Man, I can say this because when you know it's your next, your time for your next, I had to learn the hard way. I went from being one of the top originators in the nation to my last 5 years of writing mortgages felt like Jordan playing for the Wizards. I'm serious. It was time for me to sit down and coach. If I could be transparent, my clients may have said, God bless them for sticking with me and everything like that. But I still have a mortgage company, but I had to learn to deal in a different capacity because that which I did in my 20s, I didn't have the same passion for in my 40s. I think frustration is a clear sign that you you need to be disrupted. If I can say this, if people believe whatever, I believe God disrupts us and makes us uncomfortable as a sign that it's time to move from where we are to where we need to go. It was the best thing possible because I think I had my skill sets limited to just utilizing them in one area. And there were so many ways I could be more impactful at this stage in my life with all the things I've learned that I shouldn't be doing what I did 20 years ago. I just shouldn't be. You can't be doing what you were doing 20 years ago and grow. I think we have an obligation to pass on what we did 20 years ago to people at that 20-year marker so they can take it further from us than us. I think the whole world is about making sure the next generation is faster, stronger than the last. I think that's why we pay attention to sports. I was waiting for LeBron to break Kareem's record because that's achievement. I would hate to think that we set a bar and then everybody that comes behind us goes no further than we've gone.
I can agree with that. I can see.
We have to. We have to pass it. But that's why this chapter of my life, I'm trying to make sure that we're dropping the knowledge and we're not hoarding it. I think the generation before us, man, they held on to power with their death grips. You know, they wouldn't release their positions, their authority, whether it's church, whether it's business, whether it's family structure. That same person who ran that family reunion for 40 years could be walking there trying to do it with a cane and wouldn't let it go to the next generation that's sitting there waiting. We just can't be that group.
But it's a lot that's out of our control with the things that this generation is learning and that this generation is exposed to. They Because we came up the way we came up with the generation before us, you know, such a tight grip and holding on to power. We couldn't wait to get out and become an adult. We couldn't wait to pursue the careers and chase our dreams so we could make money. So this generation, it's a generation of entitled people.
We didn't wait for them to give it to us. We snatched it out their hand.
Exactly.
I actually, to some extent, I'm waiting for that young person to come and just, it's like, I see some people, man. I see a couple of brothers who are crushing it in the business I'm in now. I look at them like, man, you're doing your thing. You know, you're gonna crush it. You remind me of myself 15 years ago or 10 years ago, you know. But I can admire that without jealousy because I should be at my next at this stage. You know, how many young contractors do you know that you kind of talk to from here and there and mentor to some extent?
I can honestly say I know at least 8 to 10
Yeah,
that I'm responsible for helping, get their own companies going.
I'll probably say 15 because I
They
know 10 of
still
them myself.
they still call me today. I mean, I had calls today. People get stuck with things, but it was people that I called and asked questions, and when I got stuck. But again, I fear for the generation below us because they don't feel like they need to call anybody. They know everything. I don't remember feeling like I knew everything. I felt like I was going to call and ask questions. There was some body that had the experience that I needed, so I was going to be a sponge to soak up all the free information.
Mm-hmm. I think that we have to be careful of falling into a mindset of lack and scarcity. Um, I think that's a negative energy that we have to hoard things, or that there's a shortage of information and we have it all, or we have to hold it all. Um, I'm understanding now that we're not in competition. You can't build every house in the state, let alone in the country. I
Yeah.
can't. I can't. I can't work and sell every piece of software. I can't originate every loan. I need relationships, and I think in our community we need to focus on collaborating more. Where if you're a contractor, you, everybody who observes you and is inspired by you doesn't have to go in the same place and do exactly what you do in the same market. Go across the street, go down the road. Or how can you sell lumber? If you're a contractor and I have a relationship with you, I don't need to become a contractor. Maybe I need to supply lumber. Maybe I need to supply other building materials. Maybe I need to do vinyl siding to collaborate. We got to move past that focus. And this is Black USA News, so I can say it. We got to collaborate and find ways to complement each other, not compete.
You need to say it again so the people in the back can hear you
We need
because
to find ways to collaborate. We all try to do the same stuff. I can't tell you how many people come to me and say, I'm doing assisted living and it's twin assisted living across the street because my girlfriend does it. And you try to take, or you go work for a business and try to take their clients and stuff like that. I'm not knocking that business. It's a big business. You can do it. But let's not look to compete in doing it. Let's not go and learn under people so you can poach what they have. No, ask them, can you partner with them? Mentor me. I'll give you a slice.
that's
A mentor, I gave a cut.
that that the topic you're speaking on right now is what's wrong with us as Black people. I see I see a difference when I'm watching The Chinese contractors. I watch how the Russian contractors move. I watch how the Jewish investors move. We are not united like that. And if we were, we'd be so much further along. You
But
know,
Earl, we are moving like that in our circles.
yes, but it should not just be our circle.
Yeah.
You know, when I see some young brother at Home Depot, um, and he's taking a long piece of material and he's tying it to the side of his mirror, and and I'm like, brother, how far are you going? I'm gonna throw it in the back of my truck and take it for you because what you're doing, you're gonna break it before you get it down the road. We don't care like that. We're not looking out for each other like that. And and when I help somebody, I just feel like, and I tell them, you need to help somebody else. We got to start helping each other. I was driving right past his location. It wasn't even a big deal.
Mhm.
But we don't move like that.
And you ain't got to pay me for everything.
Right.
You can't pay me for everything. Some things I do because it makes me feel good just to help. Just acknowledge you got help. Hey, Mark. Hey, Thomas, Amanda, appreciate y'all being on here. Man, you know what you said? I'm going to challenge what you just said, that we don't do this and we don't help and stuff, because guess what? You are us and you do it. This is why we're doing this forum, is because we need more of us to do things that don't benefit us directly, but will help the overall community without an agenda. We just need these opportunities and these conversations. I don't know why I was motivated to do this. I think it was God saying, hey, get off your butt, do something for other people this year. It's now about self, money, and your family. It's about the community as a whole. It could be because people need it. I don't know. We said we're going to do 8 weeks of them and see where it goes. But I felt the impact. I've had so many people come up to me and say, hey, I saw the podcast. I saw this clip. That was good information you dropped. This helped me. I'm starting my business. And we ain't even in 10 episodes, man. We're not in the 10 episodes. So this is time to string on the mirror. I think it's everybody doing a little bit. Nobody has to do a lot. Sounds corny, but I think it's everybody doing their little piece of it that makes a difference. We're out of time, but I want to ask you if you got to drop something to leave the crowd with. This time goes fast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You drop grad school level business wisdom today. I don't know if you realize it, but you gave us a lot to go back and kind of chew on, because what you bring to the table in business, and I've always admired, is you understand people, and everything you said has been focused on people, your team, your clients. Not once did you talk about how much money you wanted to make. Not once did you talk about what you needed. You talked about meeting a need, and that's huge. So tell me 2 things. Leave me with something that you can do. 1 second. If you can leave the crowd with 1 thing, Earl, what would you leave them with?
I want to say don't be scared to chase your dreams, but
what? That's a good one.
but without the fear, you could make a mistake. So you need to be scared, but you also need to have the drive to pursue it. Because, I saw something in my barber, and he was there early, and I said, I see something different in you. And I've watched him grow based on the drive that I saw in him. And every time that he had a project, or he has trucks now, he's just doing so many things. If you got the drive, and it was fear in him, but he had dreams, and he decided that it was okay to have that fear, but use the drive to push through that fear. And that was something that I always did. I just said, look, you get up every day and push through it. And every time he had something that he wanted to do, he pushed through it. So whatever your dream is, it's okay to be afraid of it, but stick the key ignition, start the car up, and drive right through it. You got to go after it.
May I post your contact information, Earl, if people want to contact you for projects?
Sure.
I'll post your email.
Yeah.
Earl Harris. You reach him at myhomeneedswork at AOL.com. That's how long he's been in business, y'all. He got AOL. People say, how do I get in touch with Mr. Earl? Earl, I think circles of friends like this are essential. We've developed a friendship over the years that I can't tell you how valuable it is. You're one of my closest friends. The people that I brought on are my friends. These are people in my circle. We pick up the phone and talk to. I encourage everyone listening to start developing a circle of people who are like-minded, who you have relationships with, who can help you grow. You know, it's one thing to have people that you can party with. It's another thing to have people that you can build with. And I look to my left and I look to my right, and my goal is to put money in the hands of the people in my circle. I love writing this brother checks because he gives me work that I couldn't, beyond anything else. It makes me happy, the level of pride he puts in the project. So I can't recommend anyone more than I recommend my man right here, just because of the love he puts into everything he does. If I can't say thank you enough, my brother, thank you. My family thanks you because you've invested in all of us, and I appreciate you.
No problem. I got you.
All right, I want to say goodbye. This is it, y'all. This is a week. Sorry for the tech difficulties, but I think my brother closed it out well today. And this is CDC Construction. Man, we should have gotten Adam on here with you, man. It's like, it would have been interesting to have both. I'm going to reach out to him. Maybe he come on here next and talk about the other side of it, because he has a whole bunch of jewels to drop. He knows a lot of contributions. But we thank you all. Sorry I couldn't get any more questions. We had the tech issues, but thanks everyone for tuning in. See us next Monday at 7 p.m. We're going to work from concept to cash flows. Bring your ideas. Shoot us emails. You can reach me at quayparker@gmail.com. Earl Harris, myhomeneedswork at AOL.com. Thank you, and see you next Monday at 7. Stay on Earl.